Welcome everyone to another Redstone tutorial. Today we are gonna go completely vanilla. It is a much requested tutorial, namely an updated version of my Redstone calculator, and today is the day. Hell yeah! And it is actually also an improved version, but this video might take a while, so what I'm gonna do is actually put up some annotations and also links in the description, so you can go ahead, click that and go right to the part of the video that you need to go. Cool. So now that we clarified that, let's see what we got here. We got a display to, display the numbers, of course. We got a pad to input the numbers that we want to, and this time we are going to go with a numerical input just like that, or a digital input, and not with a binary input. The binary decoding will actually happen automatically, so we don't have to think anything. So we have a reset right here and also a plus button. So what this calculator will be able to do is add numbers, single digit numbers, up to 9 plus 9, which equals 18. And I'm not going to go any further because it would just, be exaggerated in a tutorial for YouTube. So let's see what this thing is able to do, and as you would imagine, you could do this quicker in your head, but it is still amazing to be able to build it. So we have the number 6, and we want to add that with, let's say, what should I take number 7, why not? 6 plus 7 should equal, hopefully, 13! Yeah, 100 points! Cool, and we can reset it again, just like that. And it should be resetting to the number 0, and we can go ahead and give in another calculation. Now I know this works for everything, you can trust me. What we have to do now is actually have a look at the circuitry. Alright guys, if we have a look at the circuitry, you can see it is considerably smaller than the last time, even though we have one more module. And I niftily laid it out so you can clearly see what's going on and you can understand it and then rebuild it from your knowledge rather than doing it step by step. So let me give you a brief overview over the different modules before we start to build them. First of all, we have the decoding from a numerical input into a binary form, which happens with this module right here. The green wool is simply to store what you have actually chosen, which number. We have the first number and the second number, so if you wanted to add 5 plus 6, those numbers will be stored within those modules, and they will be given out into a binary form with the end results right here. Right here we have the next part of the system, which is which number should be active first. So right now this cabling is lit off, which means the first number can be chosen. So if I choose a number, it will be stored within those RS-NOR latches right here, and if I hit the plus sign, it will go through this pink wool and enable this cabling, shut off this one instead. That means the second number can be chosen. After that, we are gonna go into a binary form again. We will end up with two binary outputs right here that we have to input somewhere else. The black wool is simply to order the cabling into the different directions, so they need to go into a specific input. And this is the only part of the system I'm not gonna explain you the functionality of, because it is easier to just copy it down on the floor rather than to understand what it actually does. So this is called an adder, and will make sure that two binary inputs will result in the final binary output, so the final end result. Right here we will decode this binary input into numbers. So each string right here, or strip, represents one number. This is number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to number 18 all the way over there. Again, black wool simply to connect up the different modules over here. This is still number 0, 1, 2, and so on and so forth, and it will be decoded into the different segments. So whenever number 0 is active, all the segments that represent number 0 will be active as well. And you can see I tried to do it in a logical way, so everything is laid out as symmetrical as possible, which is always a good idea if you're gonna go with builds like this. So this basically is everything to it. So now let's get building. First things first, let's start with the numerical input. I have a 3x3 grid of buttons hooked up to redstone torches, and our job now is to separate all of the signals. So let's do that right away. The middle torch down here we are gonna hook up like this. Then the side torches we're gonna hook up like this. And here we have our first problem. If I wanna have this go any further, this line here, those two guys will connect up, and a simple way to prevent this all the way through the design here is to place blocks on the correct positions. So right now we have 3 separate signals again, and already a spot for the middle torch here, the next one, to be enabled. We of course also have to separate those signals just like that, and you can already see that this torch can now power this block and this torch this one here. So we are going to place a dust as well and separate it with another block. Now there's 3 torches we haven't taken care of yet, the middle one on the top and the side ones in the center. So let's try to do that. The middle one on the top is actually pretty easy. We simply place a block on top of it, so that is going to be powered, and a dust next to the block. Of course, also make sure that this is cut off. The side torches we are going to bring out to the side this time, and just like that. So this torch is now powering this dust right here, and we can do that for the other side as well. And now if we look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 outputs separate. Perfect. Next step is going to be to lay out the separate outputs in a horizontal fashion so you can easily deal with them, and I already prepared what we have to do. So you can see the different numbers that are supposed to end up with the different segments, and you can see it is not in the correct order, but it doesn't matter at all. I went with more symmetry and easier cabling instead. So I already done the right side. What we can do is simply copy what we have done right here on the left side as well. So let's start with this output right here. We are going to bring it down 1 block and simply lead it over to this guy. Like so. And this will be number 6, the middle one, so that is correctamundo. Number 3 right here is coming from this output, so we're going to go 1 over, 1 down, and 1 down to the left, just like so. And we can hook it up as well. Is it number 3? Perfect. Yeah, it is number 3. Then we are going to grab this signal right here, bring it down 1 over and down, just like so. And we can simply hook it up to this guy, which is number 9. The middle one down below, of course, can go straight, just like so, which is number 8. And the other guys we've done. The only thing we're missing is number 2 and number 5, because we cannot do that in a symmetrical fashion. But what we can do is already hook up the other stuff, so we can make sure none of the cabling is actually interfering with each other. Just like so. So as you can see, for instance, this cabling is interfering, so we will have to block this off, just like so. Perfect. Now it's all cool. And we're gonna bring this all the way over, and now we can actually do number 5. Let's do number 5 over there, which is this one right here. So we are simply gonna bring it over in any way we can think of. Let's see. We can probably do something like that. Go up here, 1 block, and 1 more. Bring it all the way over. Simply like that. There we go. And for the number 2, we are going to do the same, but 1 block above it. Just like so. Bring it down here. Bring it down here. And we have to go all the way over here, so let's prepare that. Bring it up 1 more, just like so. And you can see how easily hooked up this is. Or this is hooked up. There we go. This is supposed to work. Now we can go on to the next module. Next up, we have to create something like this. This is going to be the decoding system to transform the information into binary. Now, if you don't know how binary works, I explain it really briefly right now. We have 4 bits for our system, 2 times 4 bits. So this is the first bit of the second number, so the B input first bit, the second bit which represents number 2, the third bit already represents number 4, and the fourth bit represents number 8. And if you want to create any kind of number, you will have to add those different bits. So for instance, if I wanted to have the number 6, I would have to enable bit 4 and bit 2. So this would represent number 6 for the second number, and another thing would be, for instance, number 2, simply this one. So this would be 2 plus 6. Easy as that. Now what we have to make sure of is, of course, that the different numbers correspond with our torches. So right now here we have number 4. So we have to simply enable this bit and this bit for both of them. So the number 4 will result as a result. Okay, number 5 is going to be 4 plus 1. So what we have to do is extend the system, just like so. Here is the border to the next number. So number 5 would be 4 plus 1, right? So we have 4 plus 1. Let's do one more number. We have number 1. That is an easy one. So we can extend this all the way over, like that. And we have to enable the first bit from both of them, just like so. Then we have a number 7. Like so. No, that is not correct. So number 7 would be 4 plus 3, or 4 plus 2 plus 1. Just like that. 4 plus 2 plus 1. And of course for the number 8, which should be the next one, let's have a look. Yep, number 8, it would be the 8th bit. So it's only one torch for this guy. The 8th bit. Or the 4th bit, which represents number 8. It is confusing. But anyways, I think you get the drift. I will finish the rest myself. What you have to do now is simply disable those signs, so I can place some redstone and hook this all up with a repeater in between, so you have enough space. Just like that. And usually those things will always be on, so you can see all of our outputs are on, which means the torches are off, which means normally no number is being chosen. But once you click a button, one of those lines will shut off and enable the correct combination of bits. Alright, I see you when this is finished. I finished all of the 9 numbers, extended the lines a little bit, and since everything is laid out with redstone, everything is shut off at the moment. I let it end into a torch, which is the first part of an AND gate actually. So those torches are usually on. Whenever we press a button, a certain combination of them, or maybe just one of them, will be shutting off temporarily and give way to this torch up here, which is the connection to our next module. And right here we simply want to hook up RS NOR latch, and I'm gonna go with the famous one white design, just like so. So this will end in a piece of redstone that will shut off this torch. Go through this repeater, we have a piece of redstone right here and a torch like so. So the way this RS NOR latch works is pretty obvious. Once we enable the signal, it will shut off this repeater and therefore give way to this torch, and this will be permanently powered, so it will simply switch the stage. So let's see what happens if I power this. You can see the state has switched, which means this piece of redstone is off, and we could therefore save information. Even if this is only shut off for a very small amount of time, we can save what we have actually pressed. Pretty cool. The only thing we have to do now is put this into a default stage and rebuild all of the RS NOR latches for each individual number. So we are going to build one more together, and the rest I'm going to do off camera. Torch here, one repeater, and 2 pieces of redstone, just like that. And make sure that the default stage is like so. Great, so now that we have all the RS-null latches for each individual number, it is probably time to test it a first time. So let's go with the number 5 and check out the output. And you can see bit number 4 and number 1 for the first number, this is the first number, is active. And bit number 4 and 1 for the second number is active as well. So that is working out pretty nice. It might be time to install a reset switch right now, so we can reset all of these without installing buttons ourselves. And probably the easiest way to do that is simply have a redstone torch below it that is usually powered, and whenever we enable the reset switch, it will be powered off. And you can alternate between repeaters and normal redstone pieces actually. So let me just show you what I mean by this. We're going to place torches on each of those, so we can reset them all the time. We're going to have, let's say, a repeater right here. Then here we can have a normal piece of redstone, a repeater again, piece of redstone. So it goes twice as fast rather than placing repeaters everywhere. Just like so. And fix this up. And finally, one piece of redstone. The only thing we have to do now is invert the signal with a redstone torch, for instance, so those torches are usually shut off, and whenever we give a signal to this block, it will reset all of our RS-null latches. So now that we know our system works so far, we only need to make sure that the numbers are selected individually and not both together, and we do that using an AND gate. The first part of the AND gate we already set up using those torches right here. They will make sure that the outputs here are always shut off except certain conditions are met, such as pressing a button or being enabled by this AND gate right here. Oh, this is an RS-null latch, and this will represent the second part of the AND gate. So what we have to do is actually hook this up over to those torches as well. The usual state of the RS-null latch should be this one right here. So it will, by default, we have to actually hook this up over to this torch, because if we don't have the corner right here, this redstone piece will not be able to power this block, and therefore the RS-null latch will not work. So we have to hook it up like so. But it should be going all the way over using a redstone repeater right here, so it doesn't interfere with the torch. So that means this torch, even if this guy here will be shut off, will not be enabled because it is also shut off from the other side. That means we can simply go over here and do a pattern just like this for the second bit or the second output, and don't hook this up, use some repeaters just like that. And this means whenever I press a button right now, for instance the number 9, which should be A+1, only this first input, only the first number will have A+1 and the second number will still be disabled. That means I can now change this RS-null latch, and it should disable the second pair of latches. So that means we can also do something like that, go over here, and we have to hook it up, for instance, like that. Put some blocks here, some repeaters, and some pieces of redstone. There we go. So the first number now is disabled. I can choose a second number, which is 7, for instance. I still have the 8 on my first bit, but I have 4 plus 2 plus 1 on my second number. Cool. What we need to do now is pair up the individual bits of the two numbers. So bit 1 of the first number should be combined with bit 1 of the second number, and the way we do that is letting them go into adders. So this is the next system that we are going to build, but we need to prepare the wiring. The adders have two inputs, and one should be from the first number and the other one should be from the second number. So the first adder will be taking care of the first bit for both numbers. Right, that is confusing. Since this is an addition, it doesn't matter which number comes first. With a subtraction, for instance, it would matter which number comes first, but since this is an addition, we are going to switch the numbers as it is easier to hook up. So the second number will be hooked up to the first input of the first adder that we are going to build later. And also the first bit of this one right here, the first number should be hooked up to the second input of the adder, just like that. And whenever cabling is hooking up together that you don't want, just place some blocks and try to figure a way around that, just like that. So we have taken care of the first two. Now we need to take care of the second bit. So we could, for instance, have this lead over here and go like this, for instance. It doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you leave enough space for everything. There we go. Hook this up like so. So we have taken care of the first one of the second adder. You need to leave 3 spaces in between each adder so you have enough space. And also we are going to take the second bit of our first number to this output. There we go. I really hope you understand what I'm doing here. And also we should take care of the third bit right here. So let's maybe grab this over here. We could go one over, for instance, like that, and bring this all the way over here. That is what we need to do. And again, it doesn't really matter. I have no system here. I'm just hooking it up in any way I can think of. There we go. And also the third bit right here should go to the second output like that, and block this off again so it doesn't connect. Now I already prepared the last bit, so this should go to the second or the first. It doesn't, well, it matters that you do it consistently for each of those. So the first number should go into the second input. That is correct. And I'm confused myself. And also the fourth bit right here, which isn't hooked up to anything right now. Let's see what we could do with that. We could bring it up here and bring it over like that. That might be working out. Yeah, that should be good. And we're gonna bring it all the way over here. There we go. This might actually require a repeater. So that's 1, 2, 3. We have to disable this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that's going to be more than 15. So let's place a repeater here and do something like that. Perfect. Now we have sorted out the cabling and we can finally add the adders. Alright guys, so this is the part where I suggest you simply memorize how to build one of those adders rather than to understand it. It might take a whole separate videos to get really into explaining it. What an adder needs is a 5x9 area and it will have 2 inputs. So what we do now is have a basic block setup so we can build all these circuits around it. The block setup looks as follows. There we go. Can have a nice little shot from above. This is what we need to do for each adder block-wise. Now let's add some circuitry. We're going to need a torch right here onto the right block, some repeaters, a sticky piston right here facing this way, redstone. Then we have repeaters both into both directions, one going into this block, have a torch here, repeater here and here, some redstone around here, redstone here, and a torch right there. This is going to be our output. Right here, usually you will place a sticky piston, but since there is no adder in front of this, the sticky piston isn't required. But it will be for the next one, and it will be this one right here. So let's try to do this one more time. Our block setup, it's gonna look something like this. We have our 2 inputs. Again, I'm gonna show it from above so you can see what's going on. And we are gonna place our circuitry torch, repeaters, sticky piston, redstone repeaters, another torch, some here and there, leading all the way over to this torch. And now we must not forget the sticky piston. This is going to be necessary right here. As you can see, it connects up all together. Right, I'm going to do one more and finish the rest off camera. Let's place that here, like so. Torch, repeater, sticky piston. Yeah, once you get to build it a few times, you actually get the hang of it, as you can see. But I sure hope this helps still. Piston and some redstone. Cool. I finished it, and here you can have one more view from above. Beautiful. What you need to take into account is that you actually have to build a fifth adder. So if you don't remember, those adders represent 1 bit. So this is the first bit, second bit, third bit, fourth bit, and fifth bit. So there is one more adder for the fifth bit. So in case we add 9 plus 9, we should get an 18. So we need a fifth bit, which represents number 16, plus the second bit for number 2 equals 18. Right, that is why we need a fifth adder that is not actually hooked up to anything, because we have no numbers that requires this adder, but it is hooked up through this piston with the previous adder. So that is very important. Again, I used the black wool in order to arrange all of the cabling together in a way I can deal with them properly, and added the first bit of the next module. This is actually going to be decoding from bits into a numerical system. You could say so, which means we have to add one row of AND gates for each number that we want to display, which means 19 numbers, including the number 0. Since we have nothing activated right now, we want to display the number 0. Alternatively, you could also display nothing if you wanted to, but I'm going to display the number 0, so we have it complete. The way we do that is we have all of these torches enabled at the moment, except one of those bits is enabled. So right now this is the default stage. It will lead into some blocks with torches on top of them. Those torches are now all shut off. So we can have a row of blocks on top of them with redstone pieces all the way along. So in any case, if any of those torches is lit on, this piece of redstone will be on, this line of redstone. So now if we switch to another number, we could do this using a redstone torch right here. So this is the first bit, if you remember. So we are going to enable the first bit. Right now, the first bit is enabled and this torch is on, which means the number 0 is disabled again. So we need to add number 1, which is now the turn of number 1. Now whenever a torch is lit on, you will have to place another torch onto this block with a redstone piece right here. And for all of the other blocks, we are going to use a redstone repeater in order to get the signal out of the block through this one. And we are going to place one redstone repeater on each of those line and redstone pieces like so. And now all of these redstone pieces are on, and this is the only case when you have done it the correct way. That means all of these torches now, which represent number 1, are shut off. Simple as that. And we can add another line of redstone, which is shut off whenever we have number 1 enabled. Now we can do this all the way up to number 18. So we are going to enable number 2, which is the second bit. You have to think in bits like this. So number 2 is active right now. Those 2 torches are active, so there's going to go the redstone torches, and all the other blocks, they are going to need a repeater. So let's place that here, here, and here. And whenever all of the signals are on, you've done it correctly. Put some torches here and do one here. There we go. redstone on top of it. And since I know a lot of you guys had problems the last time, I'm gonna do one more. But after that, I'm gonna finish it off camera. So this is number 2. Number 3 would be the second bit plus the first bit equals number 3. All of those are active. That is a good sign. This torch is active, so here we have to place a torch, and then we can do this. Whoop. Replace that. Now, after a while, the patterns will repeat themselves. So if you can see or sense some patterns or want to do it on a larger scale, it might be wise to use MC-Edit and copy the segments that repeat themselves. I'm going to place one more here. There we go. All of the torches are shut off, so we've done it correctly. There we go. And now we have to do this all the way for the numbers that we want, for the amount of numbers, which is going to be 19 numbers for myself. So let me finish that and I'll be right back. I finished it up all the way up to number 18, and I quickly want to show you the pattern. So if you can see the torches right here. So on the first one we have 1 torch, then 2 torches, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 4. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 5. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 6. But we don't need to go all the way up to that, but you can see how the repetition of the pattern basically works. Mathematics is beautiful, isn't it? I wish I was better at it, but never mind. Now that we have set up all the numbers, we can select them individually, and what we have to do now is hook them up to the next segment. Before we hook up anything else, we should build the actual display so we know where the cabling needs to go. Right here we have a display layout with pistons using 2 numbers, 1 number consisting out of 7 segments, and this is what we are gonna go with. This is very simple to hook up, and the only thing we need to do is now build a layer of any type of block that you might find attractive and beautiful above this piston layout, and later on we are gonna hook it up. And I'm gonna leave 1 block of space next to the numbers, so it will act like a little frame for the numbers, so they are not stuck right to the edge, if you know what I mean. Great, so now that we have our display, we only need to hook up the individual segments, and this is done so easily, you will be astonished. We are going to use 2 methods, one for the vertical segments and one for the horizontal segments. The vertical ones are going to work just like that, with 2 blocks and a torch, and you can see all of the 3 pistons are extending without interfering with anything else, and you can do that for all of the vertical segments, just like that. You can do this for the lower vertical ones as well. Very easy. The horizontal ones we are gonna hook up like so, using 3 blocks and 3 more blocks. On the first 3 we are gonna place some repeaters, and after that some dust, just like so. Below it we are gonna place a block, remove this one, and place a torch. So usually it is on, and this will extend this segment. Just like that. Pretty cool. And we could do this for the lower one as well. Just like that. 1 more block, then 2 below it. We are going to place 3 repeaters here, redstone, and a torch below it. There we go. And now the middle segment should be active as well. So now we know the 2 methods. Let me finish it for the rest of them. Okay, here you can see it looks very clean. What we have to do now again is to order all of those inputs. Oh yes, so it's 7 segments per number. That's 7 segments on this side and 7 segments on this side. Let me prepare the first half of it, and the other half of it we are gonna do together. Okay, so this is one side done. We shall do the second number together now that I have a better idea of what I want. So we're gonna do the first left 2 segments, the vertical ones first. Bring this all the way over to the first segment that we want to have right here. bring this over, and I believe we can do something like that and bring it all the way over. Great. So this is where our first cabling will go, and the signal will actually come from this side towards the segments, which means we will have to repeat them at some point, and also we will have to disable them by default, but we're going to take care of that later on. First we need to hook them up. So this lower segment we can do in a similar fashion. We're simply going to go down like that and bring this all the way up to our second input. There we go. Now we can take care of the vertical ones on the other side. We are going to bring them down like so. Nice little staircase all the way down. And since this is already close to a segment, we can bring it over very nicely. So there's one more segment I want to take care of first, and this is the lower one right here. So this is the segment that is taking care of the lower vertical segment, and this is actually really confusing at times. But your job is basically to bring the wiring in a order just like that in any way you can think of. And I think we might be able to achieve that right here. So let's bring that all the way down to, oh, actually we want to go, where do we want to go with that? We probably want to go right here. There we go, yeah, that looks better. Cool, so we've taken care of that too. Now we can take care of the horizontal one. So let's start with the lowest one. We are gonna dig down one more block so we can actually disable it and bring this all the way over to this guy. That should be good. Because we want to be able to disable this torch, we have to dig down one more here. Now we want to disable this torch here on this block so we can take care of the middle segment. So we need a block right here to disable that. And I believe this guy is gonna go over like so. And we can actually go down here. That should be good. Something like that. Bring it all the way over. Good, that is hooked up too. And the last one is going to be the upper segment right here. So we need a block right there. And I believe, yeah, I went one over and over to here. And we can go in a staircase pattern here as well. Now let's see, I think I did it a slightly different. I already went down here one block, so we can do that too, just for symmetry purposes. There we go, something like that. Cool. And we can go down here as well. There we go, and place this, let's say, here. And that should be it. All of our segments hooked up. The only thing we have to take care of course, is the redstone, and make sure that it is not more than 15 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that's probably already more than 15 over there. So we need to hook it up all the way here. It can disable this torch and maybe add a repeater right there. Now that I have my segments niftily laid out, I inverted the signal, so everything is on by default, which means the activation torches are off, so the display shows nothing by default. What we want to do now is program in the individual numbers, and for that we need to hook up all the individual numbers that we've created here, the signals for them, to our segments. And the way we do that is, first of all, place some nice lines of redstone all the way along here. So what I'm gonna do is place all the redstone in quantities of 15 at a time, and then a repeater facing into this direction. What we need to do as a second step is to actually place a block on top of the redstone so we can activate it using a torch and therefore manipulate the individual segments. And we're gonna have some stripes just above it crossing all the way over. So this would be the stripe for number 0, which means we need to hook this up to the number 0 over there. So let me quickly finish and prepare this area. Right, so once you finish the grid and made sure you have enough repeaters so the signals can flow all the way through, and also that the repeaters are not in the wrong spots. The repeaters right here should not interfere with the torch that is being placed onto this block, for instance. So don't put the repeaters in between. And also those repeaters on this line should face into this direction because the lines will be coming from this direction. And the repeaters are in between two torch spots. So here could possibly be two torches, and this repeater will not interfere with those torches, which is a good thing. So right now we could simulate, for instance, the number 0. So this represents number 0. That would mean it comes only down to know which segments are what. So those are the two segments right here, the two vertical ones. Then we have 3 horizontal ones and 2 vertical ones again. So let's activate the vertical ones right there. We also want to activate the upper horizontal and lower horizontal one, and the 2 other vertical ones for the number 0. That is the first number, the one on the left. Then we're going to do the second number as well in the same manner, and that should be working out. And we should see the number 00 displayed, and this is going to be the default stage. Again, this could be also nothing if you wanted to. So let's actually start to hook up all of these before we start to make the other numbers. We need to hook them up. Okay, so I've started already hooking up numbers 0 to 3 right here to the individual segments, as you can see. And the way I've done this is very space efficient, using some piping systems like that, and I'm going to show you how to do that right away. What we need to do is pull out the signal that we are getting from here using a repeater, and this is where we start from. We're going to go all the way over to here. And right here we can actually make a turn without interfering with anything. And we can bring it to the next segment right away. So this one is actually pretty easy. We can place some redstone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. A repeater here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Repeater here. You can see this is connecting up, so we want to place another block right there. And also we want a repeater here to start this chain, so we make sure that there is enough power going on. Cool, so that was an easy one. The next one, we will have to be more tricky with the blocks. So we're going to bring this all the way over. And 2 blocks before we end up connecting with this line, we are going to go down 1 block and make the curve right there below. We're going to go all the way over and go up at the last possible block and place a repeater right here. So let's see how this is going to work out. We're going to place a repeater here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And since I don't want to place a repeater in the corner or anything crazy like that, I'm going to place one in the last possible position. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Another repeater. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's going to be all right until the rest. And now, of course, we have to separate the signals again wherever they interfere, so we can make another row of blocks just like that. Perfect. Great. So let me finish this for the rest of the numbers. Okay, so I hooked up all of the lines, and yeah, again, the black wool is just to sort the cabling. It's basically an extension of each individual line going towards the blue wool. And I've already programmed in the first few numbers. So right now, the number 0 is active, which means we should have a number 00 displayed. When I go to my first bit and activate this guy, we should have number 01, as you can see. So I have still the number 0 active for the first number, but only those 2 segments active for the number 1. Same thing happens when I change my bits to the number 2. So let's try that. Number 2, as you can see, that is simply the next line, as you can see, is off. Number 3 we can do right now. Number 3 I haven't programmed in yet. And as you can see, this line is off, so that will be number 3. We're just going to do 03 instead of just the number 3. We are going to use an 03. So number 3 will require all of the horizontal segments like that, and also the 2 right segments. So let's see if I nailed it. Perfect. 03. And now we just have to go through the numbers once again. We are going to activate number 4. There we go. Nothing will show, so that is good. Number 4 is active. We're going to make the number 0 first. And number 4 should be, let's see, the upper one, I guess, of this guy. Then we need probably, oh my gosh, this is going to be probably those 2, and then we need both of them. I don't know. Did I get it? It is a not necessarily a 4, if you ask me, but if I change those guys, it might work out. That might be number 4. There we go. And oh, the lower segment shouldn't be active. Is it this guy here? Hopefully, or that might have been the middle one. Jesus Christ! Lower segment is this one. So there we go. You just have to know your segments, but eventually you'll get it. Okay, so let me once again finish this for the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I put down the torches for all of the numbers, so right now we are able to display all of them. We could calculate even more, but we can only display 18 or 19 numbers. So this is number 8. We could also go with a number 17. That would be 16 plus 1. Number 17 is popping up right away. Perfect. So now we only need to hook up some buttons in order to make the calculations work, and we need to hook them up to this reset switch as well as to this AND gate right here, which normally should be in this position. Depending on your layout, it might be more or less difficult to hook it up. In my case, it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna have my input for the plus button right here. The only thing the plus button will actually do is toggle this RS-NOR latch and make the second number available, and also disable the first one. So we could simply have a signal going over all the way to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we are going to place a repeater, of course, right here, and extend this all the way. And I believe that should be enough to reach this point here, so we can toggle the latch. So now if we press the plus button, the RS-NOR latch will be changed. Now we only need the functionality of the reset pressure plate right here, which is hooked up to normal redstone cabling down below. So what the reset button should do is, of course, go all the way over to our reset mechanism for the internal storage. So once you press a button, it will store that information, but if you go on the reset pressure plate, it will delete all of that information again. But this pressure plate should not only reset all of the information, it should also toggle this RS-NOR latch again to bring it into its default stage. And the way we do that is simply take the signal from the reset button that we already have. We need to take a repeater right here because we have a redstone piece on the other side, and we need to invert the signal once more like that. We're going to place a block on top of that and bring the signal all the way over to here. Right here we are going to install a repeater just to make sure that the signal extends all the way over to there, and we can simply add some redstone here as well. And this will make sure once we hit the reset pressure plate, also this RS-NOR latch will change, and it will not only delete the stored information. So you can see now our RS-NOR latch is on the default stage again, and that is all there is to it. Holy cow, let's test it out, and hopefully there will be no mistakes. Let's try 2, and we need to wait a little bit so number 2 is displayed, and we're gonna hit the plus button. Cool. So the latch should have changed. Pretty cool. We can input the second number. Let's go with 7, and it should be calculating and display the number 9. Oh my gosh, that is just great. We can go on the pressure plate again in order to reset everything to number 0. Let's go with 5. And as soon as it pops up, we can press the plus button and go with 5 plus, I don't know, let's go with 9. Why not? 5 plus 9 equals 14! 100 points! Hell yeah! Alright guys, this has been a pretty long video, but again I'm gonna put down navigation links for this video so you can easily switch around to the points where you need to go, and it will be so convenient to have this all in one video than separate in a mini series or something like that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something from it, and also you could rebuild it. If you have any problems or questions, you can of course leave down a comment and I will try to help you as good as I can. Just try to be specific with what your problem actually is, and maybe even link some pictures for better understanding. Only this way I can really help you. But other than that, I will also provide a world download, of course, so you can download this world with the 2 calculators. They are exactly the same, except that I have Ars Knowledge in between here, which isn't actually necessary. I left this out in the tutorial. But holy cow, thank you so much for bearing with me. Have a great time, and hopefully you will succeed rebuilding your own calculator and improving on it. Have a great time. See you soon. Bye bye.